Leave this wretched life, and when your mentee becomes the TME. Fellow Toastmasters and esteemed guests, good evening. I am a very, very happy mentor because finally, my mentee, which is hands down my second favorite speaker of all time, she's almost as better as I am, is going to be handling this meeting tonight. She has a very, very beautiful subject that is unrecognized by many, many people, which is social work. Who amongst you volunteered as a kid or as a child or as a teenager? By a raise of hand? Well, my 8 years of scouts could definitely say that, Khaled, yes, you did volunteer. And trust me, when you give as a volunteer, it's much different than when you give as a social worker or as a human being in general. And with that, I would like to start the meeting. But before we start, we, my friends, have some few rules for us to maintain the meeting, to maintain the composure. The first rule is that you have to stay on camera at all times. If you decide to leave the room, make sure to turn off your camera. 2, please don't offend anyone. 3, don't talk in Arabic. 4, try to stay professional and have fun as much as you could. And finally, enjoy the show, because without the show, there is no fun. With that being said, you are also recorded. If you have any problems with being on camera and recorded in this session, please either talk to me or talk to our president, Mary Jo Shaheen. And with that, President MJ, I would like you to start the meeting.
Hello everyone for another awesome Mercury meeting. I hope you're all well and I wish you enjoy the meeting today. Let me tell you a short story about my encounter with social workers, which was very, very brief. So during my university life, every day I would pass by the office of the social worker at university because universities usually have a social worker working there for some reason unknown to me. They were unknown at the time and they're still unknown to me now. I never knew what social workers do exactly. Like, okay, they stay in their office, they take care of the loans the students have, the students with economical difficulties, they help them and handle the work, the paperwork that needs to be done in order to apply for help. But other than that, I had no clue. Little did I know that social workers do so many things, and there are so many types of social workers. I only learned how many just yesterday when I was preparing with Yasmina for my Table Topics master role. But another experience that helped me discover the importance of social workers is the one time when I volunteered with the organization called Himaya. Just once, and it wasn't really a big event. For those who don't know about Himaya, Himaya is an organization that helps underprivileged kids who sometimes suffer from violence at home. So the event I volunteered at was not with underprivileged kids, but actually it was a fundraising event. So there were all the privileged kids there. But at this event, there were those social workers whom I socialized with and who were helping in this event as employees of Himaya. And it was the first time I met social workers. And I was so taken aback by their lovely spirit and their will to help. They made their life, they dedicated their life to helping others. They worked on a daily basis on trainings to help those kids that are underprivileged. And I thought, wow, someone can dedicate their entire life to provide a positive and supportive environment for others. This reminds me of something. Isn't this also something that describes the mission of our clubs? That's a common ground between social workers and Toastmasters. I can't tell you too much about social workers because Yasmina, our TME today, will be telling us all about that, but I can tell you so much about Toastmasters. Toastmasters is an international organization with thousands of clubs around the world. We are part of Area 1 representing Lebanon, and we have 4 other clubs with us in Lebanon. There is Protost, loudspeakers in the north, and the speakers and leaders at the University of AUB, and we have the Arabic club called DOT, and we are part of Division A, District 105. And our club mission is support and to provide a supportive and positive environment for others to grow. This is all for me, and I really hope you enjoy our meeting. Our lovely, lovely Yasmin Al-Masri will be leading it today. And without any delay, let me hand the meeting over to you, Yasmina.
Thank you. 16 March 2021. What a day. World Social Work Day. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, members, and guests. Many of you, or at least some of you, don't know what social work is. So if I want to say social workers struggle throughout their entire career just to explain to people what is the true meaning of social work. If I wanted to give a small definition about social work, it is a profession that concerns with helping individuals, with helping families, with helping groups and communities to enhance their individual and collective well-being. They seek to help people develop their skills and their ability to use the resources and those of the community to resolve their problems. So throughout this meeting, I will be answering the misconception about social work that the role takers shared with me, and I will be inspiring you with some of the information between the sections. Of course, this meeting will not be led only by me. I will have a team that will help me out throughout this meeting. First, we have our grammarian, Kamal Kassab. When I asked him about one misconception or stereotype he heard about social work, he told me that social workers are all volunteers from NGOs. Actually, social work is a true profession. So while volunteers give and help people throughout volunteer work to engage in communities and help people who are around them, social workers aren't volunteers. They train and study for years before entering the workforce. You need to have a degree in order to be known as a social worker. Kamal Kassab, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster Yasmina, and congratulations on your first role as a TME. Fellow Toastmasters, esteemed guests, good evening. When I heard the theme about today is about the social workers, I immediately thought back about my university years when I joined the Lebanese Red Cross in AUB. It brought back memories of volunteering, teamwork, leadership, and goodwill. Now, speaking about goodwill, I urge all our speakers today to show some goodwill to the English language by making the best effort to avoid any grammar mistakes, to avoid speaking in Arabic or any language other than English, and to try to use good idioms, phrases to spice up the speech. Now I will move on to introduce the word of the day. I will share my screen. And the word of the day is to gratify, or gratify. Gratify means to please someone or to satisfy a wish or a need. For example, Abdul Rahman, are you listening? I am saying the word Guzelbob only to gratify Abdul Rahman's request made 2 weeks ago when he dared me to say it in the following meeting. Now with that, I will urge all our speakers also to try to use the word of the day, gratify. At the end of the meeting, I will come back with my report with all the mistakes, all the good uses of words, and the number of times the word of the day is used. And before I go, I would like to remind everyone that when the word of the day is used, we try to make a drum rolls on the screen like this. Back to you, Madame Toastmaster.
Thank you, Kamal. And of course, don't forget to use the word of the day. Now, we have our timer that will make sure that we enjoy our evening and not exceed the time limit. Khalid Shatira. When I asked Khalid about one conception that he heard about social worker, he told me that social workers don't get paid. Well, actually, it is false. But what I wanted to say is that social workers do get paid, but it differs from an organization to another and from a country to another. Khalid Shatira, the floor is yours.
Yes, Mina, you do realize that you altered my question a bit. I asked Yasmina if social workers get paid in dollars, because I do know that social workers get paid. Unfortunately, scouts are man labor. Anyways, for my timer roll, I will raise the green pen. For our speaker, actually, Karim, as always, I will be raising the green pencil. I'll be using the green pencil for 5 minutes, the yellow pencil to mark the 6th minute, and the red pencil to mark the 7th minute and 30 seconds of grace. And be advised that these pencils are only substitutes because
I think we can't hear Khalid.
Yes, you can proceed. We
Okay.
can. I can be backup timer in case he doesn't come back.
Okay. Anyways, I think Khalid did say all the timing rules before he got disconnected. Now it's for our first session, section, which is the speaking section. So today we have Karim Kahali, but before he comes on stage, I will welcome his evaluator to introduce his objectives. So when I asked Andrew about one misconception about social work, he told me that it is about waving a magic wand and putting everything right. But actually, and he corrected the misconception and he said that it's about empowering people and working hard to make their lives better as much as we can. But sometimes things don't go the way we want. So not everything we do is right because all of us learn from our mistakes. The stage is yours, Andrew.
Thank you, Toastmaster Yasmina. Mercury Toastmasters, it's good to be with you again, especially to hear Karim's speech today. We're to have a humorous speech of 5 to 7 minutes duration. It's from the Motivational Strategies Pathway. It's a level 3 elective project, and the purpose is to develop a collection of humorous stories that one can use in giving speeches. So Karim's speech today is Laugh It Out, and I'm looking forward to hearing it. Thank you, Toastmaster Yamina.
Thank you so much, Andrew. And now, Karim Kahale, Laugh It Out. Laugh It Out, Karim Kahale.
I'm all suited up, wearing my backpack, boarding pass in hand, and I'm storming to baggage control. I was screaming inside, freedom! I'm sure many of you know the feeling of reaching the airport, ready to leave everything behind, even if only for a while. Time to disconnect. Time to relax and forget about all those stupid power outages and road blockages. I was so ready for this 2-week Christmas vacation. I've spent the last 4 months preparing for that trip, and I want it to be pitch perfect. I was traveling to Finland to watch my childhood band play live for the very first time. And then I was heading to Germany to visit my girlfriend. Splendid. But what I didn't know is that my high expectations for that trip were about to be completely shattered. I was traveling with Cobalt Air, flight CO326, 5 a.m., heading to Helsinki. I started looking for my check-in counter. So I walked and walked and walked with no sign of any counter. I thought I might have arrived a bit too early. So I thought I'd rest a bit until the counter opens up. 30 minutes later, I went on another vigorous search, but in vain. Even worse, asking around, no one knew anything about that flight. I ended up getting redirected to the office's airline. So I walked, I got lost, but finally stumbled upon the place. Closed. What am I going to do? I got my phone and looked up the flight online. And to my surprise, the airline had completely shut down business just a week ago, and I was given no notice. What would you do in my place? I was so tempted to call this entire thing off and head home. But I was not leaving defeated. I quickly booked a flight to Helsinki, arriving at 3 p.m. the next day. First week, $1,000. My first layover was in Tunisia. I quickly got off board and ran to border control, not wanting to waste a single minute. I then got greeted by a middle-aged officer with a cold, grim smile. Then I got asked to empty all my luggage for examination for reasons unknown. Then the old lady started throwing all those questions at me. What is the purpose of your visit? Why did you change airlines at the last minute? Are you carrying any illegal items? After being held hostage for more than 2 hours, I was finally free and on to my next connection. My second layover was in Paris, France, 24 hours later. I've had no sleep for the entire period. My hair was fuzzy. Even my clothes smelled funny. My flight was leaving in 4 hours to Finland. I thought I'd get some sleep until the flight arrives. Upon waking up, I looked up my ticket on the dashboard, but I found no reference of my flight. Is this some kind of a joke? Examining my ticket closely revealed the mystery. My plane was indeed leaving from Paris, but from a completely different airport. I had no idea that there were 3 different airports in Paris alone. Even worse, my flight was leaving in only 1 hour and a half. I quickly grabbed my phone, I called an Uber, and after what felt like an eternal wait, I arrived at Orly Airport with only 35 minutes left on the clock. Miraculously, that was just enough to bypass baggage control, check-in counter, and finally reach the gate. Now, the rest of my flight went almost untroubled, except for getting flu along the way and my credit card refusing to work. Now, the time I spent with my girlfriend, you wonder? It was amazing. Until she decided to dump me in the middle of Frankfurt downtown under the rain. Mesmerizing. Thinking about it all, while it does seem like I got completely bamboozled during that trip, it's really not that bad. After all, I've made so many memories. I have so many stories that I can laugh about, share, learn from, and even rejoice. And it really makes me think, you know, we all feel happiest when we can laugh at our own misfortunes. And I've personally noticed that when I make you laugh about my own mishaps, it makes me deal with my past events in a lighter perspective. So, that embarrassing moment at work, laugh it out. That time you used an inappropriate pickup line during your date, laugh it out. And that time you completely ruined your table topics answer, also laugh it out. Madam Toastmaster Yasmina.
Thank you so much, Karim Kahali. Now let us give 1 minute to give Karim Kahali feedback, and yes, that's all. That time.
I see someone stealing trade secrets.
You're sitting on your bed, feeling so alone. All you need is
That's the music you actually play when you break up.
Your mind is being consumed.
Very fitting.
Whispers of I'm not good enough, and you don't know if it's the truth or just a monster inside of you. And oh, you're so much more than what your mind tells you. And you are worthy of a love and happiness.
Thank you, Khalid. Now, we think sometimes that poverty is only about being hungry and homeless. The poverty of being unwanted, unloved, and uncared for is the greatest poverty. We must start in our own place. We must start in our own homes to remedy the kind of poverty by Mother Teresa. Now, the world can seem like a big, scary place for children, troubled teens, abused women, and homeless individuals. A safer, more protective home begins with one person in one home. As social workers, they help these vulnerable people to live in a safer place. Now, it's time for the best part of the night, the table topic section. For tonight, Mary Jo Shaheen will be leading the table topic session. When I asked her about one misconception or stereotype she heard about social work, she answered that social workers work really hard and aren't paid well. Well, Mary Jo, I can't say that it's false. It's not wrong, but we as social workers are not in it for income, but rather for the outcome. It depends on the organization itself, but at the end of the day, social workers do get what they deserve and what they appreciate. Mary Jo, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Yasmina, and proud of you as a social worker to be. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the table topic session. First of all, let me just explain very briefly what is table topics. This is the section we're all excited about. It's there to help you improve your impromptu speaking section, impromptu speaking skills. So for the new guests around here, I will ask questions and you have 30 seconds to think and reply within a minute, between 1 minute and I will let our timer Khalid explain the timing rules for the session. It's been a while since I took this role.
Well, you should give the role for the people who have the role. And with that being said, for our fellow guests, you have 30 seconds for the green pencil, 1 minute and a half for the yellow pencil, and 2 minutes for the red pencil with 30 seconds to wrap up. In order to be eligible for voting, you need to finish between the green and the red pencil. And for our members, I think you know table topics well enough, but nevertheless, green pencil for 1 minute, yellow for 1.5, and red for 2 minutes. Table topics is hands down the section that will definitely improve your public speaking.
Thank you, Khaled. And now it's time to start with our table topics. I hope you're all excited to improve some public speaking and impromptu skills. So I don't have many names, but I will be picking some of you out because I know that all of you want to participate. Today, our section will be dedicated to social workers, as you might expect. I have 10 different types of social workers, and we will be putting ourselves in their shoes. So you will discover more about all the types of social workers there are, and there are many more than those. And you will try to imagine yourself in a certain scenario. So I will start with Abdulrahman. Abdulrahman, are you ready? Are you here? Yes, with your glasses as usual. Okay.
Yes, I am here. And I am here with my lack of video footage, as usual.
No worries. Let me just share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Just a second. Yes.
Amazing. So your question is, today you will be a substance abuse social worker. Your scenario is you encounter an alcoholic who does not seem to realize that they are addicted. What would you do? What would you tell them to help overcome the situation? Abdulrahman.
Can you please repeat the question?
Yes. You encountered an alcoholic who does not seem to realize that they are addicted. What would you tell them to help overcome the situation?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Now, first, I need to assess the situation of the case that we have. And yes, I'm a person who works punctually and by numbers. So I don't refer to people by their names. I refer to them by numbers. Anyways, so case number 35 came to me with a whiskey addiction, saying he used to love a person named Jack Daniels. At first, I was like, how is that alcoholism? Because, I wasn't really that very aware about the types of alcohol. Anyways, after receiving a notice from my boss telling me that you need to stop joking, these people's lives are at matters. At first, I would assess the situation and see the background that they come from. For example, if they are young and free and love memes, I can simply tell him, listen, alcohol bad. And that would probably be enough. And in other cases, I actually might have to get a bit serious because you see, we actually elevate the seriousness level. We don't go in and like, no, you're ruining your life. Stop it. No. We go, step by step. So you need to gratify them, to show them that they are here and you are willing to listen. Show them, your funny side and your serious side. So after that, we elevate and we go and say, listen, do you really need this, the thing that you're putting inside your body? Do you know its effects? Do you know its aftermath? Are you really that much, are you really that much in need of this person, last name Daniels, first name Jack? Are you really in need of this person or, item or commodity? So That's how we move with these people. We start taking it up level by level until we make them see that, first of all, yes, they are addicted, but at the same time, they need to accept it. We don't need to force it upon them. Thank you.
Thank you, Abdulrahman. Yes, we should never force something upon anyone, which reminds me that I often tried to force Toastmasters on others, and I discovered later on that it's not a good strategy. So yes, true. Okay, next, who is interested? Manuel, it's been a while since I've seen you. Are you interested?
Yes, let's give it a try.
Amazing. Let me share my screen. Okay. So you will be today a healthcare social worker. Find a creative way to keep a COVID patient entertained from a distance. So you need to find some kind of way to keep someone suffering from COVID entertained while being away. So it's difficult to be away from someone and keeping them entertained. Manuel.
What can keep you happy? How can you be entertained? It depends on how you are feeling. I have seen it with my students when I'm teaching them online. It's very difficult to keep their attention for a long period of time. I have seen it with my niece and all her little friends. They are around 5, 6 years old, and it's very difficult to keep them entertained in front of the computer, which basically that means in the distance, because we cannot get close to any of them. But when it comes to a COVID patient, it depends on how bad is he feeling, because sometimes when you are very sick, you only want to sleep. You don't want to know anything. You don't want to talk to anyone. So it depends on how bad that person is feeling. And I have seen it because sadly, I spent 3 months in the hospital with a relative of mine. I was helping her because she was hospitalized for that long. And it was very difficult to keep her entertained while I was there in the room. So being outside the room with only giving them maybe only a phone or maybe a tablet, the first thing I could use is a Toastmasters meeting. I would say, okay, there's this very good club. It usually meets at 11:30 a.m. on Tuesdays, that's Mexico time. So you could join, you could enjoy the good speeches, you could enjoy table topics. It usually is very entertaining, but when we have guests from around the world, is a blast. So that's the first step. The second step, there's always, well, Netflix. After a good meeting, a good Toastmasters meeting, give them a few movies on Netflix, or maybe binge watch a series. Like, depending on your mood, you can go with the 100, or you can go with some comedy, like Modern Family, for example. And that's it. Back to you.
Thank you, Manuel. Yes, by the way, I love the series The Modern Family, and I think it's a good way to keep someone entertained. Whether Toastmasters, that I agree for sure with that, or watching some Netflix. Okay, so next, who is interested? Anyone interested, or should I pick? Roland is always interested. Or no? Yes, of course you are, of course. Okay, your question is, let me share. You are a trauma social worker. If you were stuck in a closed room with a highly claustrophobic person, what would you do to distract them from their trauma? If you were stuck in a closed room with a highly claustrophobic person, what would you do to distract them from their trauma?
But I don't know what's claustrophobic.
Someone who is who fears enclosed spaces. So if you're in an elevator or a closed room, you would be scared because there is no way out.
Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. That's my first day of social work. I'm really excited, and the first case that I'm into is a person that he fears from getting stuck in a room. Okay, that's not a big deal because the most uh, uh, wait a second. That's not a big deal because it's easy for me for as my friends and all my family say, a funny person to get to distract him from his fear. So as example, we can make debate about a topic, negotiation, which I'm very good in at. Um, we can tell jokes, and it's so easy today with our phones and laptops to make to to make the time pass. So by that we can maybe play a game. Today videos games are conquering our daily life. Uh, Statistics shows that uh, 25, I think, percent of young people spend much more time on their phones than they on reading or doing some activities. So I think it would be easy for me to distract him from his fear, to grab him out of his circle of fear. So yeah, I think that's it for me. Thank you very much. Back to you.
Thank you, Roland. Great way to keep someone distracted with games. Lovely, lovely. Okay, next. Any of our new guests would like to join and participate? Don't be shy. Roland, you want again? Maybe at the end. Haifa, would you like to try?
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, why not? But I'm not able to open the camera.
It's
okay?
okay. Don't worry. Next time, maybe we can try to see you.
Yes.
Okay. You are a child, family, and school social worker. You discover that your 10-year-old neighbor is being severely bullied. What would you say to build up their self-esteem? You discover that your 10-year-old neighbor is being severely bullied. What would you say to build up their self-esteem?
Yes. Oh, wow. That's a very interesting topic, as many kids and children are suffering from bullying worldwide, and actually it's causing some of them to commit suicide, as I've heard about stories about not only kids and also maybe adults. Well, to build his self-esteem is to show him that he is important as any other child in this world. There is no difference between him and them. They have eyes. He has eyes. He doesn't have anything missing in his body. He's smart. Maybe I have to show him what what is he specialized about. Maybe he's clever in drawing, maybe in singing, maybe he's clever in school, in any kind of material like mathematics or Arabic or English or whatever. So I have to start to show him what he is specialized about that's missing in other children. And that's why they are trying to bully him, because they are trying to cover this their what's missed for them in this way. That's number one. Number two, I have to show him that many people who were bullied in their childhood, they became very important people in their adulthood. when you want to convince someone, just start to show him a story. Give him, share with him a story, a realistic story, so he can understand that sometimes what we suffer from becomes a blessing later on. For now, that's what came into my mind. I don't know, maybe there is some more things to be added. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Haifa, for participating. First time table topics, and it was awesome, really motivational, and you're at the right place to be. You're a very motivational person. Thank you for
Thank you.
participating. Okay, anyone would like to participate? Khaled, you just came in. Would you like? Ahmad. Hey, Ahmad.
Hello.
Hello. I know you.
Yeah, you do.
It's your first time at the Mercury, right?
Yeah, I've always wanted to join, but I never had the time.
Amazing. Welcome. And I'm glad you're participating in table topics. Let me share with you the next question. Hospice and palliative care social worker. This is one of the most challenging ones. You discover that one of your friends has only a month to live. How would you advise them to live out their last weeks? You discover that one of your friends has only 1 month to live. How would you advise them to live out their last weeks?
Well, I think it's interesting. Okay, the first thing I could think about is stemming from philosophy. I apologize if I'm going to bore you guys out with this, but the question of how would you live if you only have a month is quite similar to a lot of questions that have been asked in philosophy before. Perpetually, it's been said that life is quite short and you don't know when it's going to end. Therefore, you should always live a moment like it's your last. So, starting from this point onwards, how would you advise this person? I would, of course, first of all, ask them what they think their purpose in life is. This would definitely help them uh, come up with an idea. For example, if this person, let's say, is committed to their family, then the first step they do is to try to find something that is sentimental and comes down to gratifying the wishes of their family to tell them that they're going to be with them at all times. The philosophical aspect of this is that it's trying to cement our goal as humans in the absurdity of the incoming death. Death is going to come to us at all points. For this person, they know that it's going to come right now. So it's up to each of us to decide on their own independent purpose. So this is where it comes in a very modified, custom, personalized advice to each person comes down to what they do, what they care about. Are they an environmental person, for example? Maybe they could donate all their estate towards a particular cause relating to the environment, for example. It all comes down in the biggest way you could leave a mark on the world before you leave it in um, in comparison to their perceived purpose.
Thank you, Ahmad. Thank you. I remember that you're studying philosophy, and this answer proved that I remembered well. Thank you so much for participating. Okay, next. Kamal Kraidiye, would you like to participate?
Yes, I'll give it a try.
Amazing. Let me share. Okay, psychiatric social worker. A mentally unstable person approaches you with a knife. How would you handle the situation while keeping a positive attitude? A mentally unstable person approaches you with a knife. How would you handle the situation with a positive attitude?
First of all, I would tell them to calm down. I would try my best to let them calm down. I would ask them Is there anything that's bothering you? I know that maybe I won't have much time to ask that, but I would try. I try my best to do so. I would try to maybe hold his hand to keep the knife away from me, while also trying to encourage him, to motivate him, to see what's wrong with him, because he won't do such an act if there's nothing, if there's nothing wrong inside of him. I would try to correct. I don't know, with the limited time that I have, I would try my best to let his negative energy turn into a positive energy. How would I do that? I'm not in the situation to know, but I just know that I will try my best and I will keep it positive. Under pressure, I don't know if I could do so, but I'll try my best for sure.
Thank you, Kamal. I'm sure you would. It is a very challenging situation, and the way you would handle it is a good one. Thank you for participating. Diana and Rashid, you just joined again. Would you like to participate in table topics? Not sure if you can hear us. Yes.
Hello. The connection was bad. Yeah. The connection is bad, not good. But I didn't hear. What's the topic that I would share?
I did not share it yet. If you want to participate, I will share it now. Okay, the topic is criminal justice. You will be a criminal justice social worker. If you could choose one thing about how prisons are operated, what would you change? If you could change one thing about how prisons are operated, what would you change?
Oh. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Now we cannot. I'm not sure.
Sorry, the connection is bad.
Do you want to
Sorry.
try, or if you can't, it's fine. Okay, it's okay. Khaled, would you like to try it?
Okay. I'd love to try it.
Okay, Diana, your connection is not good. If you want, you can try for the next one. If okay, it's fine. It's okay. Maybe next time. Khaled, you heard the question?
What would I change about one thing in the prison system?
Prisons, yes. If you could choose, if you could change one thing about how prisons are operated, what would you change?
Okay, give me a minute. In the United States, there are more than 50,000 prisons, like huge, vast areas of land that are just dedicated to hold people in prison. Imagine every prison has what, 4, 5, 6 blocks. Every block contains more than, say, 5,000 prisoners. I have no idea, I'm just making up these numbers. Imagine that every single prison holds these amount of people, and the numbers are only rising in prison cells, in holding groups, and most importantly in prisoners. Why? That is a question to be asked. Because why are crime rates rising up so high while the prison rates are also rising even higher? This is a big question. Are these prisons even working? Are they getting the job done, or are they just taxpayer money? You have to ask this question, because what are these rehabilitation centers? What do they do? What are they working? Because obviously they're not. In the United States alone, it is one of the most highest prison rate, criminal rates in society, in the society of prisoners. Which leads me to another question. If they are not working, what will? If you look at the studies in, let's say, Finland or Denmark, Scandinavian countries, you can see that they elaborated the prison system to become a hotel system. Prisoners go check in and check out after having their psychiatric treatment in order to keep them in prison and out of the streets in the most civil way. They are actual rehabilitation centers and not just places where they hold groups up in bars. Now, there is one thing that I would love to change about prison, actually make it a place for rehab, because we in Lebanon, we have our own rehabilitation centers, and look at these people, they are not exactly rehabilitated. With that being said, don't drop the soap. Thank you.
Thank you, Khaled. Thank you. Yes, you would do a good person to operate a prison. Maybe that's a job to consider in the future. No, no. Okay, we still have 2 or 3 questions depending on the time. Any of the role takers would like to participate in table topics? Andrew, would you like to try?
Absolutely.
Amazing. Let me share my screen for one moment. I lost the screen. Okay, I have the screen. You're a disability social worker. If you could choose between learning Braille, Braille is the language that blind people learn with the paper that is marked and they put their hands on it, or learning a sign language of the deaf people, which would you choose? If you could choose between learning Braille or learning a sign language, which would you choose? And why?
I think I would undoubtedly learn sign language. In the case of somebody who's blind, if they can still hear me, I have a means of communication. In the case of somebody who really is deaf and who I have no other means of communication with, to learn a sign language would greatly assist them. And communication is the essence of everything for every person. Think about when people lose their voice, for example. If you lose your voice, if you have an accident, maybe you just lose your voice temporarily, but it's a terrible, terrible handicap because you can't express yourself. To lose one of the other senses, to lose your hearing, to lose your sight, must have just as much impact upon you. And so for me, it's important that I find a way of communicating with each person. Now, you are going to say to me, Toastmasters, sitting there behind your screens, what are you going to do with the person who is both blind and deaf? How are you going to decide then? And I suspect that in that situation, I would need to find some other way of communicating, maybe through a system of touch, using another feeling to communicate with that person, maybe using different types of things that one could touch to communicate different textures of material. There must be a way of communicating with every single person on this planet. So my choice, my number one choice will be sign language, but we must find other strategies so that we can communicate and offer what we have to say and to share with everybody. Thank you, Toastmaster Mary Jo.
Thank you, Andrew. I love how inclusive you choose to be. You want to include everyone, even the blind and the deaf. I did not think of that. Thank you, Andrew. I have 2 questions. Kamal, are you interested? You can be grammarian with yourself if you want. Kamal Kassab.
Hello, MJ.
Hello, hello.
So I'll need someone to fill in the grammatical role while I'm speaking, because I will make many.
Tamara maybe can
mistakes.
hear some things as the GE
She'll-
and Grammar Nancy.
She'll
So
pick them up.
you're an international social worker, and yes, that does exist. If you could choose any country to work in and to help develop other than Lebanon, which one would you choose? You could also choose Lebanon, but I prepared in case you were already in Lebanon. If you could choose any country to work in and help to develop, which would you choose?
Do I really need to select a country? Okay, I'll pin the timer first. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Our Toastmaster of the evening has just asked me if I could choose a country to develop. Choosing a country, in my opinion, defies the purpose of being a social worker. It defies the purpose of being humanitarian. I believe all humans are equal and should be treated equally. I believe that what's good for me should be good to someone living in an African country. And whatever privileges are available in the Nordic states, which are considered to be the best in the world, I should also have the same privileges that they have. So to choose a country would be odd for me. What I would wish to do is to recreate an Atlantis, to find a piece of land, an island, where we could all agree to make it as an example for what other countries in the world should be like, where different ethnicities can live side by side and integrate with one another, where all refugees would be welcome without searching them or putting them in refugee camps. I always had a theory for solving the refugee crisis, which I hope the United Nations would adopt. And that is to find an island somewhere, Madagascar maybe, take part of it, give the government some incentives, and create a great society there, and fund it, and make it open to all nationalities, so whoever has to run away or whoever gets persecuted in his home country can escape to a place where a refugee or anyone can find himself as an equal to his fellow countrymen. So if I were to choose a country, it would be an island. I wouldn't choose a specific place. Back to you, Marijo.
Thank you, Kamal. You somehow countered the question and invented your own country to answer. That's an interesting way to answer. Thank you, Kamal. I have one last question. Anyone interested who did not participate yet? I know that Yasmina is a TME, or Tamara, would you be interested? I know you're the GE. Richard just came. Richard. To please our GE. Richard, are you interested to participate?
Yes, I'm interested to participate.
You came just in time for the last question. Okay. You are a community social worker. If you could choose to build anything in your local town to improve the community, what would you build? If you could choose to build anything in your local town to improve the community, what would you build?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. When you think about your own community, you would think first about the people. You would think all those people living their lives. How could I improve it? Will my improvement help all of them right now, or will it be able to help them on the long term, making our community one of the best communities, not just for now, when I'm still a worker, but on the long term? So, thinking about that problem that way, I could think that one of the best solutions to do would be to work on the youth, because they're the one that are going to take our place in the future. They're the one that are gonna pull the trigger. They're the one that gonna make most of the major decisions. In that case, we have to do something to help them. And that's why I would do like a creative center, somewhere where they could express their creativity, they could learn skills, side hustles, magic, sports, somewhere where they could be free to act their own age and could learn at their own pace. It could have a library, a court. But as long as the youth are learning, expressing their creativity, having a safe place to be themselves, I'm sure that later on there will be amazing adults that are gonna do the right decisions for the community later on. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard, for this amazing idea that you brought. I believe in that. I believe that the youth are the future for our community, and I really hope that that officials do take that into consideration. So this was our last table topic question. I would like to ask our timer if everyone is eligible. Is Khaled still there? I guess he is not. I'm not sure if Manuel, you recorded the timing.
Yes, I recorded the timing. Everyone was on time.
Thank you, Manuel. Great backup timer. Thank you for that. Okay, I will be sending the link for voting in the chat if you can take a minute to vote. Let's take a minute to vote for our best table topic speaker.
Listen, it doesn't know you anyway. You can't trust what the mirror tells you. Doesn't see all the beauty within your soul. And you can't look at your weight on a scale and let that number define your worth. 'Cause oh, you're so much more than what your mind tells you. And you are worthy of a love and happiness. And you are beautiful and powerful and know just what to say to that stupid voice in your head.
I'm not sure who is timing the 1 minute, so I will assume that it is over. And if you still did not vote, please feel free to vote. And now I would like to hand over to our Toastmaster of the evening, Yasmina. I hope you enjoyed the session. Thank you. And back to you, Yasmina.
Thank you so much, Marijo, for this very, very amazing session. Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves. More often than not, Victims of trauma lack the words to express their grief and fear. Social workers recognize the need and are the first to respond. They are the ones who speak hope into the hearts of the hurting. And yes, social workers do work in the mental health field. Now, for our last session, the evaluation part, our general evaluator, Tamara Osman, will be leading it. When I asked her about one conception or stereotype she heard about social work, she told me that many people think that social workers can't really progress in their career. Actually, social work qualifications is generic, which means you can work across a range of teams: child protection, youth justice, mental health, adult social work, and disabilities, to name just a few. We already got to know some of them from Mary Jo's section. Within your first 3 years of qualifying, you could be promoted to a senior social worker or line manager as either a social work consultant or a team manager. There's also plenty to scope to access careers outside of sanctuary social work practice, such as training, academia, consultancy, or policy making. Now, Tamara, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Yasmina. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, we did not only learn about the importance of social workers, but also about the different paths social workers have. And we also tackled some misconceptions that we have and the entire society also created around social workers. Now, before we proceed with our evaluation for tonight, I would like to call our timer, Khaled Shakila, to give the evaluation timer rules. Khaled, the stage is yours.
I think Khaled was disconnected, so I will be acting as timer. It will be 2 minutes, I will put the green background, 2:30 yellow background, and at 3 minutes, it will be the red background.
Thank you so much, Manuel, for being our backup timer and for giving the timing rules for our evaluators. Now, please, everyone, help me welcome on stage our evaluator for tonight, who will be evaluating our one and only speaker, Karim Kahale. Andrew Bennett, the stage is yours.
When I make you laugh, it makes me lighter. It lightens my load. How gratifying to hear and see a speaker who is so comfortable with his audience on the stage. Karim makes a great arrival this evening. He's running, he's walking, he's using these things for great comic effect as he starts out the speech. And which one of us doesn't appreciate and identify with the idea of rushing to the airport? We've all been there, and I can confirm to you, it's very easy to end up at Paris Charles de Gaulle rather than Paris Orly. Very easy indeed. Karim's on-stage arrival is great this evening, but it creates a little bit of sound disturbance, I noticed, on the transmission. I wondered if instead of running from the side of the screen, he actually ran towards the screen. I wondered if this was in effect something to do with his clothes and the microphone. There was a bit of a scrunchy noise at the beginning of the speech, and it is important. Within the first 30 seconds of a speech is when you hook your audience. So I would like that to be sorted with a sound check type rehearsal beforehand. Perhaps Karim could practice his speech with a fellow Toastmaster and just check these things so that all is in place for his start. Karim has incredible physicality in this speech. There's all sorts of gestures. It's a very exciting speech with humor. I would like the vocal contrast to match those gestures. So for instance, the word shattered, it has sh and it has the t in the middle. Shattered. I'd like to hear more of it. I was not leaving defeated, had a tremendously strong gesture behind it, but I was not leaving defeated. It's a size bigger than Karim actually gave us this evening. And no sleep. When he's sleep deprived, I want to hear that he's sleep deprived. I'd love to have the hair even crazier. He did do a gesture with the hair, even crazier hair. Comedy relies on exaggeration. So let's really go for it. It's exaggeration of situation and physicality and voice. Occasionally there are filler words such as you know. Perhaps there we could play more with pauses and do the pauses in the effect and the expression of the speech. Shock, surprise, all the expressions can be used in the pauses so that we can avoid the filler words. So we have rehearsal for a sound check, vocal contrast to match up to physicality, use of pauses for expression. Karim has wonderful open body language. And if you'd seen yourselves behind your screens, Toastmasters, laughing at this speech, you would realize that this humorous speech was a huge success. Surely the success comes from reflecting the energy and the laughter, so that the reflection comes from Karim to us and back to Karim. What a triumph this humorous speech was today. And so now I invite you to join with me. Let's have our laughing yoga and let's say, laugh it out, Karim. We're all going to laugh with you now. Ha ha, Karim. Great speech. Toastmaster Yamina. Or sorry, back to our general evaluator.
Thank you so much, Andrew, for this amazing evaluation. I would proceed now to give you an evaluation as well. Andrew, you give a wonderful feedback. You were very constructive. Your comments were so on point. I'm definite that Karim, our speaker tonight, took them to heart and will apply them next time he goes on stage. Thank you so much for coming in tonight and giving this wonderful evaluation. And I would love to see you more and more at Mercury. Now, I would like to call our table topics evaluator, Marijo Shaheen, who will be evaluating our table topics speaker. MJ, the floor is yours.
Hello again. I'm sure that you're bored with me by now. This is the first time I'm both table topics master and evaluator, but it's also good since I know the question, I can manage it all out. I will be giving you brief feedback for each table topic participant. I hope you benefit from. They will be very brief, and if you need any additional feedback, you can always reach out to me or any of your fellow Toastmasters for more. I will start by Abdulrahman, who was the substance abuse social worker for today. Abdulrahman, what I always admire with you is the way you add the humor to your table topics. Like, I'm not sure if it's a real part of something that happened with you, your friend who was addicted to, who loved someone called Jack Daniels, and how you did not know who that was. If that's true in your life, that's funny that you thought of it. And if it's not, it's also very creative. So congrats on always knowing how to insert humor. I don't have much to comment on delivery. I understand your internet connection is always bad each time. What I would recommend, since you're always joining with a virtual background, maybe try to change it. Like, I'm still not getting the point of the purple glasses. And maybe you can change it according to the theme sometimes, so that since we are not able to see your face, maybe we can see something different each time. And this is just a subjective suggestion from my end, not really directly related, but this, since I can't comment on much else, I decided to advise you on that. Next, we have Manuel Mendoza, who was the healthcare social worker. Manuel, you were great at giving examples from your own life, which is always a good source of ideas for table topics. My only comment would be maybe to show us your hands more, or I know that I rushed you into this table topic, so you did not have time to fix your settings. So maybe you can just lower a bit the screen of your laptop or camera, so that we can see a bit more of your upper body. Yes, that's amazing, so that we can see your hands slightly better. And maybe your conclusion was slightly rushed, but this is always something that is very common actually among all table topic speakers, because by the end they run out of ideas. So this is something with practice and depending on the ideas that you can work on. Our next speaker was Roland Nashar, who was the trauma social worker for today. You launched your ideas with with repeating the scenario of the situation, which is good to give yourself time and to let us slowly into your table topic. This is something, a comment I would give you. It's something that I also gave you, I think, last week, which I will just remind you of so that you can remember to work on it, is the way you look on the sides, and maybe also use a bit of filler words when you're trying to think of your question. This is something that is very difficult to work on, but I'm just stating it because the more you notice, the more you will be able to catch yourself doing it and work on it. That is normal because you will be thinking of your next ideas. And don't worry, with time, if you keep on at this rate coming every week, you will be improving it. And I did notice that you are starting to improve on it and get better and better. Our next speaker was Haifa Dimasi. Thank you for doing table topics for the first time, Haifa. You were today the child, family, and school social worker. You started your answer with actual facts. It's a great way to start as well. We have many strategies to start our table topics, like starting with personal stories or facts related to the question. So your way was a great way, and it was a great motivational speech. Now, I don't have much to comment on since I could not see you, which is fine. Maybe next time you can try and join us with a camera. My only comment would be related to your content at the end. It's your first time, so it's fine. But at the end, don't say that that's what came to your mind. Whatever comes to your mind is okay. Don't state it. Just try to finalize your table topic as something related to the topic, or maybe with the last motivational words or a call to action. Don't mention that that's what you came to your topic, because we're all happy to hear you, whether it's a bit of talking a bit or talking a lot. So feel free to talk whatever you want. Ahmed Sati, I'm glad to see you with us today. You were today the hospice and palliative care social worker. What I loved about the way you say your table topic answer is your calm and confident voice. I think that comes from you being a philosopher. So you have a calm and confident voice that it's always constant and just relaxing to hear. So maybe that's what I felt, but I really felt it was something positive with you. My comment would be similar to the one I gave to Haifa, but the opposite. At the beginning, you apologized for anything you want to say, as if you were preparing us for a long speech that was incoming. Don't do that. Just whatever you will be saying, I am sure that everyone is looking forward to say it from you, and I am sure that you have so many other things that are very productive and that are very constructive, and we will be glad to hear them. So don't apologize for anything that you want to say. That applies for anything in Toastmasters. Next, we had Kamal Kraiziye, psychiatric social worker. Again, here, I would advise you to open your camera so that I can give more constructive comments. But I loved your answer and how you started it a bit humorously. I'm not sure if you meant it as a humor. You started first, I would tell him to calm down, and that set up like a humorous beginning, and you kept it positive throughout the answer. So great job on delivering your first table topic, and next time maybe come prepared and show us your camera so that we can see you and evaluate your delivery. A criminal justice social worker was Khaled Shatila today. Khaled, I'm not sure if he's here, but I will tell him after the meeting that I am proud today that he did not use Arabic. I was shocked and I was glad at the same time. So he did a great job on that, and I love how Khaled is always has always a natural way to use his body to complement his delivery. So he did a great job on that. He was also organized, and maybe only his conclusion could be even more building up towards it. Our disability social worker was Andrew Bennett. Andrew, I'm glad you were able to do a table topic with you, with us, although you were an evaluator. I loved your answer and how it was creative and inclusive. You found out a way to be creative. You answered the question, and yet you you complemented it by saying you want to find a way to include both deaf and blind people. So I love that. Maybe my only comment for improvement would be the same as Manuel, to try and lower a bit your camera so that we can see your upper body a bit better, since there were extra space above your head. I prefer to see you than the extra space above. That's my only comment. International social worker with Kamal Kassab. Kamal, I love the way you countered the question, which is a good strategy sometimes to adapt a difficult question. So you could not think of a country, so you just invented a country. That was very smart. I loved it. My comment for you would be to try and improve your eye contact. I'm not sure if you were looking at the cameras or at yourself, but you were looking below the camera. So maybe if you catch yourself doing that, try to always look into the lens of the camera. A strategy for that, to do that, is to minimize the zoom and put make it small and put it directly below the camera setting, the camera. That's the strategy I try to do sometimes when I have speeches, and I find that it works. And last, I see the red, but this is the last one. A community social worker was Richard. I can hear the passion in Richard. For those who are new here, I always say Richard, and it is actually Richard. Richard's voice is radiating with passion for the thing that he chose, is to build the youth center. So I loved how he was genuine in his answer. My comment would be to try for a stronger conclusion, maybe invite everyone to do something to make this plan work, not just that's it, you ended it a bit abruptly. And of course, to try and open your camera next time for delivery. I understand you just joined the meeting. So that's it. Those are all the table topic speakers. I hope you benefited from that, and I hand back to our general evaluator, Tamara.
Thank you so much, Marijo, for this incredible evaluation. As always, I will proceed with evaluating you as a table topics evaluator, and then continue with the rest of the evaluations. MJ, I always appreciate the passion you have and the passion you give. It's very audible even in your voice. We can tell how passionate you are about what you do. And not only you were table topics master tonight, you even stepped up and took the table topics evaluator as well. I really appreciate how you always give our speakers a positive point and end with a point, a note to improve. It's very important to highlight what our speakers are doing correctly and encourage them to do their best next time. So I really like that about your evaluations, and please stay up to this level. I really like to see you on stage as usual. Now I would like to call our timer or our backup timer, Manuel, for setting the time for me, so I can proceed with the evaluations. I will start with definitely our SAA for tonight, Khalid Shatila, who isn't here as well. But I would like to say that I really loved his introduction. It was very encouraging, the way he gave Yasmina a confidence boost by announcing her role, her first TME role tonight, which is incredible. It really helps motivate her to give her best. And even asking a question at the beginning was very engaging. It captivated the audience. I would like to give him one tip next time, to try to structure his intro maybe a little bit more. Now, our president, I love the introductory video at the beginning. It's very cute and very simple. And I love how you related the theme to the mission of Toastmasters, how social workers and Toastmasters have the same mission. And I love how you always introduce and welcome everyone with a huge smile on your face. It's definitely something we'd love to see as always. Now, Yasmina, our TME, your introduction was very captivating. The way you started with the date, announcing that today is Social Work Day and the importance of this day in our lives. And it was even very informative. Not only you gave or you corrected the misconceptions we have as people or as a society, but you also gave very nice and educational information about social workers. I really appreciate that. It really showed how passionate you are about
what you do. I know you're majoring in social work, so that was incredible. And we couldn't even tell that this is your first time as TME. You were very confident, and you really, and you took your confidence was very emerging throughout the screen. Even though we're not on stage, it was incredible. Even though some of us got disconnected, you took control. Well, for example, when Khaled got disconnected, you took control and you took over with very much confidence. So I really, really appreciate that, and kudos to you. I would like to see you in other roles as well in the future. Now, our timer, who isn't here, I appreciate the use of pencils as tools as timing rules. It's very creative. My only advice to you is maybe next time to relate your intro to the subject a bit more. That's my only advice. As for the grammarian, I really like the introduction. You always relate your intro to the theme. I really appreciate that. And I applaud your energy with reminding everyone to use the word of the day. It was really helpful, and I hope everyone really used a word of the day. And I would like to end with our wonderful TTM for tonight, Marijo. Your questions were challenging, and it really showed the amount of effort you've put to actually come up with these questions. They were amazing, absolutely amazing. And you reacted, to each answer with complete focus and the same energy throughout the entire session. I really applaud you for this. It was incredible. And now I know I ended my evaluation with the one and only TTM, sorry. But now I would like to call our grammarian to give his report. Please, Kamal, the stage is yours. Is Kamal
Thank
here?
you, Toastmaster Tamara. I will proceed directly with the report. It's the most gratifying part of my role in Toastmaster. I would like to start with congratulating Abdulrahman, Andrew, and Khaled Shatila for using the word of the day. Even I forgot to use my word of the day, so that's bad on me. Overall, we had a good meeting in terms of grammar. Our speakers showed a lot of goodwill towards the English language. We heard a lot of good phrases. For example, hook your audience, I was screaming inside, makes an arrival, and I liked Yasmina's not in it for the income, but for the outcome. That was very creative. There was a misplaced word, I believe, when one of our speakers said Frankfurt downtown instead of downtown Frankfurt, where he broke up. Misuse of some words, even worse. It should be even worse. And conception, when you want to say what is a concept, it's a misconception. We have misconceptions about these workers. Now, we had some subject-verb agreement mistakes. Somebody said, which basically that means, and should be which basically means. And young people spends, it's young people spend. We are, in this case, young people is the word. We had some tense agreements. For example, first thing I could use, first thing I use, because you were speaking in the past. And also the speech was in the past where someone said there was always, and they were referring to something in the past. Now there is something called language transfer, which is very common in our language, having a society which is at the very least bilingual, and in some cases trilingual, where they speak English, Arabic, and French. So we translate from one language into English. And we had some of those today. For example, death is going to come to us at all points, whereas in English we just say death is inevitable. What came into my head should be what came to mind. And something you would do a good something, you would make a good something, governor, speaker, whatever. Finally, I would like to say that I do have some suggestions, especially about gender. So one of our speakers was speaking about a person, oh, the neighbor that was bullied. And she kept referring to the neighbor as him. What I would suggest, either say him or her, or say one or someone. Keep it gender correct, let's say. That is all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed it. And over to you, Madame Toastmaster. I go back to Toastmaster of the evening, Yasmin.
I'm sorry,
Or
Kamal.
Tamara.
Yeah.
Our evaluator. Okay, sorry. I thought you already. All right, excuse me.
No worries, Kamal. Thank you so much for your thorough feedback. You always give some intensive reports when it comes to the grammarian role. I really appreciate that. Your comments are always on point and very accurate. And I really appreciate how you came up, or how you highlighted the trilingual issue, because it has been recurrent throughout some of our meetings, and how you pointed out the importance of being gender neutral, especially when talking about someone. We shouldn't assume their gender, always use they or he, she. Thank you so much, Kamal. And I would also like to thank every role taker tonight for making this meeting possible. Thank you, everyone, for an amazing performance tonight. And now I would like to give the stage again to our wonderful Toastmaster of the evening, Yasmina. Yasmina, back to you.
Thank you so much, Tamara. Okay. Maybe before we end our meeting, let us give just 2 minutes to give feedback to Andrew as an evaluator, and some feedback to our general evaluator and all role takers, and to me as a TME. If Manuel can just take 2 minutes.
So we're both in this together, Yasmina.
It's turning, you're so gray. Please don't listen, it doesn't know you anyway. When you're feeling all alone inside your head, and the things your mind's saying just don't make sense. Don't know what's the truth or pretend. Just know that I'm by your side. Don't keep it all in a run and hide. 'Cause I have been through it all before. Me and you are warriors. And oh, you're so much more than what your mind tells you. And you are worthy of a love and happiness. And you are beautiful and powerful and know just what to
Thank you, Marijo, for this beautiful to put some things between when we want to give feedback, and thank you, Manuel. So now for the best part, before we close the meeting and end the meeting, who is excited for the results? Let me see some excitement. Okay. Yes. MJ, do you want me to share, or you will be sharing?
I can share, Yasmina. Okay, so our best speaker, as you know, A lot of suspense there, right? Our best speaker is our only speaker, Karim Kahale. Karim is always an amazing speaker. Our best evaluator is Andrew Bennett. Although there was no other evaluator, Andrew, I always admire your evaluations, and I will keep asking you to come visit Mercury whenever we need a role, when you're available, of course. And now for the real suspense. Who's excited to learn who are the best table topic speakers? Drum rolls, drum rolls. So we have a tie between Manuel Mendoza woohoo, and Andrew Bennett. Congratulations, all of you. Well deserved. It was a great, great session. Thank you. And I will give control to you, Yasmina, to conclude.
Thank you so much, Mary Jo. Now, I always wondered why somebody doesn't do something about that. Then I realized I Was Somebody by Lily Tomlin. That somebody can be a social worker, a compassion soul, or an inspiring world changer. Social workers realize now is the time to act. Social workers are a part of the few who do care. They care about social injustices committed every day across the globe, behind the closed doors and out in the open. They are the ones who care enough to believe they can make the world a better place. So to end up the meeting and my part, I just want to send a message to say, believe in social workers, believe in us, because we are part of the society, and all together we can make the world a better place. Back to you, Mrs. President, Major Shaheen.
Thank you so much, Yasmina. I am really, really proud of you. This was a very successful meeting. We all learned a little something, more than a little something, a lot of little somethings about social work. And I'm really glad you took this, your first CME on Social Work Day. And you will become a great social worker to be, and you will do so many great changes in your community. Thank you so much. I hope that all of you enjoyed the meeting today. I would like to remind our members, if you would like to take roles for the upcoming weeks, to check with our VPE, and I will send our contact information in the chat in a few moments. For any new guests around here who would like to stay in contact with us. And before we end, we usually stay a bit to discuss and take some feedback, and a group picture, which our lovely Vice President of Public Relations always reminds me of. So let us all smile and let us take a picture. Okay, just one other. Keep smiling. Amazing, amazing, beautiful faces. Okay, that was for our group picture. Thank you, Tamara, for reminding me. And now I would like to take some feedback from our lovely guests. I will be turning off the recording